Absolutely. Egal.
Jay,
You forgot what it feels like to win a trophy. Don't let me bask.
You can start off the Partey topic if you like.
Okay, listen. I'm gonna say what Arsenal's problem is a little bit what Spurs had 16, 17, 17, 18. Once you have established very good players in certain positions, it can be hard to find players to come into the squad of the level you're looking for who know that there's a player ahead of them. It's difficult. So with I think Arsenal already is like they're playing catch up to just be in the position that they're in. Do you see what I mean? And that's never a good sign. You know, they've lost their assistant manager. They've lost potentially Partey. They've lost Jorginho. Zubimendi coming in is great. And I think he's a very good signing. But because of the way...
Is he better than Partey, Jay? Do you reckon Zubimendi is better than Partey?
I mean, I think it's one of those, will he be better? Yes. Will he be better than Partey day one versus the level of performance that Partey gave them last season? I don't know. I don't know. That's a difficult one to answer. I'm not sure. Is the best
losing both of them, like losing Jorginho and Partey, and then just getting Zubimendi.
Well,
I think that's a bit
guys,
of an L.
Just to remind you guys, 2022-2023 season, Partey played like 5 games. That was the first year where we were challenging for the league.
Yeah. I listen.
And just to remind you guys, last week Egal said it was imperative that you didn't lose Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
I understand.
And also, okay, Egal, and hold on, but Egal, you say that, and that's a fair point, but I'm going to rebuttal that and say in the second half of 22-23, when Rice looked so good and you were very consistent chasing City down, who was playing with Rice?
Was it 2022?
It was Partey. Yeah, it was Partey. It was Partey, Rice, Odegaard.
It was so basically in 23, 20, exactly. So you're saying even you had Jorginho playing with Rice, you've lost him now. You've got Partey, you lost him. So it's almost like even the person that played well with Rice, he's gone too.
But we got Zubimendi. We got one of the best out there.
You've lost 2 players basically. Yeah. So
and I'm looking at that midfield now, Jay. And you got what? Marino, Zubimendi, and Rice. And Odegaard.
Yeah, and the problem that they've got now is, okay, let's say they think Lewis Skelly can play in midfield. Yeah, the problem is there.
We're gonna get
but the problem is there that they weaken their defense by moving Skelly into midfield.
No, not necessarily. We're gonna go for Jorrel Hato over at Ajax.
Okay, so my thing is. So my thing is Arsenal are doing a lot of work to stand still. Is my point. That's the point I'm trying to make to you, guy. Like you're standing, like when people are saying, "Oh, Havertz might still start over Sesko first game of the season." Well, you're not improving your first team, then, are you?
Oh wait, Jay, did you see the Sesko news?
Let me tell you, Jay.
What's a release clause in his contract?
Jay, let me break it down to you. Arsenal are going to make 3 level raising signings, and Arsenal are going to make 3 squad signings. That's what I think is going to happen.
We're not signing 6 players. I'll just tell you that right now. You're not signing 6 players.
You need to listen to the person who's telling you what's going on. So
I always tell you. I always tell you what you're going to do. But I always tell you what you're going to do, and I'm more right on Arsenal than you are.
Hear me out.
I'm more correct on your team than you are. So you need to listen to me.
Hear me out. Right? So number 1, Kepa is going to be one of the backups, right? We're going to sign a defender because the likes of Zinchenko and Kieran Tierney would have already left the team. So that's 2 out, 1 in the defense. Also, we're gonna go and potentially sign a replacement for Thomas Partey for around 20 million, a young up and coming midfielder. This is like 23 that plays for Sevilla. So that's 3, and those 3 all together would probably cost us, I would say, 70 million for those 3 players. Okay. Kepa is going to be 5 million. Hato is going to be it's going to cost us probably around 60 million max because Hato's around 35 million.
Hato's not going to cost 35 million. Don't be silly.
Apparently,
don't be silly. Hato's going to cost 50 to 60. Yeah, like let's be honest.
Euros. 50 to
Bro, listen, like he's their promising player. He's got a lot of years under his contract. They were selling Lisandro for like 60 a few years ago. Yeah, and he wasn't even their baby boy.
Even if we don't get Hato, we go and get a center back from Lille
Right.
that's going for 20 million. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're not signing 6. Okay, maybe you sign 4 or 5 players.
No,
That's
but
absolutely
the
fine.
3 squad depth signings I think are realistic. $20 million.
Well, you have to look at integrating into the team. Yeah.
Correct.
So if you're going after top level competitions, we've already seen Arteta doesn't love rotating. So you're going to try and tell me that Arteta's going to take 5 players and integrate them into the side whilst you're trying to play at the top level, and no, it's not going to happen, right? So that to me tells me that either you buy 5 players and a couple of them see minimal game time, or maybe you just buy 3 or 4 and you try and integrate them properly. That's the way I see it. That's what I would do if I was Arteta. Because integrating 6 players at this point in time doesn't really make sense. And those 3 or 4 players only work if you do sign level raisers. So Zubimendi, brilliant. But the thing is Zubimendi coming in is meant to push the player out of the first team, not push him out of the squad and club altogether. Okay, now you've got to replace him.
Let me bring it back quickly. Partey and Jorginho leave. We bring in Zubimendi and say Aguma from Sevilla. Those are 2 for 2, going in and out, right? You have Jesus, who's injured, and Raheem Sterling, who is on loan. Both of them are basically not going to be in the team. At least Jesus, minimum, earliest time he'll be back is probably January or December time next season. So right now it's looking like we're going to bring in a left winger and we're going to bring in a striker. That's the plan. So 4 players right there. We've already got Kepa through the door. That's the 5th. The 6th player, who is the question mark, is if we can sign a quality defender to come into this team. And you guys are probably wondering, why do you need more defenders? Simply put, they want to have the defensive cover in the case that we have a similar injury issue, or the player who can come in and cover for the center backs, or somebody who can cover a left back, one or the other, because they could move Miles Lewis-Skelly into midfield if needed. And overall, you might think it's crazy to buy 6 players, but when you have a backup goalkeeper who's not going to be playing much minutes, you have a backup defender who is going to be basically a project player, a backup midfielder who's going to also be a project player, and 3 potential level raisers in a left winger, a striker, and Zubimendi. I think it is logical to say Arsenal can pull off a deal for 6 players, especially when Kepa costs 5 million. One of the midfielders we're looking at is about 20 million, and the other defenders between the 40 to 30 million range.
Well, why is that logical when I've not seen evidence from it previously? You're asking for a leap of faith, yeah, because the evidence says you're not going to do that based on previous transfer window activity. That's what it tells me. So you're hoping you're going to do that, but there's no evidence to support that. The level raisers that you want in the market, where are they? Yeah, because the thing is that, like, where are the players that you can? Okay, so you're now saying Rodrigo. Okay, cool, Rodrigo. Well, let's say you don't buy Rodrigo. Nico Williams is gone. Yeah, Barcola's not leaving. Yeah, Leao, you want to take?
Yeah, Eze. It's simple.
So now is Eze the level raiser you envisaged when you came into the transfer window?
Eze is still somebody who's a clutch player and can make a difference in those.
But this is my point, Egal.
I like Eze. I think Eze is a good player.
Are you trying?
Eze 2 years ago.
Are you trying to buy players to win the league, or are you trying to buy players because you think you need to buy players because you know that the squad's lacking something?
No, we're buying players who we believe have the character and ability to win. And get us a.
But the problem is, Egal, Egal, when you go to the shop, yeah. Hold on, but Egal, say when you go to the shop, Egal.
Respond to one sentence. Let me respond with one full sentence before you cut me off. It's mad. Let me respond. I'm simply saying Arsenal needs to go and sign level raisers, and when I say level raisers, I mean players who are going to go and make a difference in that final third in the attack specifically. The reason why we're getting Zubimendi, and I consider him a level raiser, is because, 1, I did not think Partey was going to leave. And if you want to say now that Partey is leaving and him coming in as a 1-for-1 replacement, fair play. But at the same time, we are going to go and sign 2 attackers that is going to improve this team's attack. Simple.
Okay. So I'm saying to you now, yeah, that's fine. But when you go to the shop and you've got a shopping list of what you want to buy, and there's a certain quality of ingredient that you're looking to purchase, and you go there and they're out of stock. Yeah. So then you go to the next item and it's out of stock. So what you end up buying at the end of this is inferior quality ingredients, not even terrible ingredients, but for what you wanted to make, for what you went to the shop to go and buy, you bought the wrong kind of ingredients. And you're in MasterChef against really, really efficient husbands and wives. The husbands and wives, the wives are going to the shop, they're getting everything off the list. You know, Michelle Edwards, she's there, she's doing her thing, buying everything you need. And that's my point, Egal. You think you exist in a vacuum. You do not. Everybody else is trying to get better. Everybody else is trying to improve too. And you're out here just doing the most to stay still. That's my issue with Arsenal this window so far. Just to stay still. You are thrashing in the water just to tread water. You're not swimming. You're in the same spot. And you need to understand that this transfer business that you're trying to do, you've shown no ability to close big 60, 70, 80 million pound deals. And you think you're going to do 2 in this window. Let's see.
We've already gotten Zubimendi in. I think it's pretty straightforward and clear that everyone can see we're going to get either Gyökeres or Sesko. One of those are going to come in. And in the case we don't get either, the fallback plan is Ollie Watkins. The left winger situation is very much up in the air. I agree with you. But the reason why it's up in the air is because Arsenal is going to wait and see if they can get Rodrigo. If they cannot get Rodrigo, then they're going to pivot. But they do have a plan in place for that. Now, where I don't necessarily think you're wrong is we have not seen Arsenal go and solve all their problems. We're not Liverpool. We're not City. We're not friggin' even Manchester United or Chelsea. We don't necessarily go and do business that makes sense. Sometimes we do things that are illogical. So to a certain degree, I do think you're right. But hey, I'm not sitting here. I'm not sitting here on the 20th of June saying that Arsenal is not going to do the business that I think they're going to do, because all signs are screaming that off the back of last season, where we had a net 10 million profit off the back of at the end of the window, that they can go and spend this window. Come July 1st, I do expect a lot of escalation in some of these deals, and I don't think Arsenal go and make 3 signings before July 1st.
I have a question, right? So for your left wing position, Rodrigo is the guy that you're waiting to hear about.
Yeah.
How long do you leave it, or how long do you think Arsenal are going to leave it before they need a decision from Rodrigo? Because obviously it's not great if you have to wait until the season actually starts. Say you have to wait till the last week of August. You probably don't want to do that, right? Because the thing is that also may be the situation that's going to have a knock-on effect to your striker to your striker dilemma, because he seems to be your main guy, the one that you're targeting. But at the same point, you need to have a decision, I would say, by mid-end of July at the latest.
Okay, when does the Premier League start?
First or second week of August, I think. Normally,
August. So I think July. The Club World Cup ends July 16th. The Premier League starts August 16th. It's a situation where
mid-August.
It's a situation where we probably will respectively have about a month to see if we can pull off Rodrigo. If we don't pull off Rodrigo before the season starts, I think we're going to go and end up with either.
Is that too close? Like,
I think we're going to either end up with the Eze or something like that. But at this moment in time, Arsenal is probably going to try and get a Morgan Rogers, who's a different type of player, and if we just try a ting on him before the end of this month, because Villa have to sell players, and we're going to see if we can get him as somebody who can play in that left wing and what do you call it, midfield pocket, before we go and do anything else. So I have to wait.
But then if you get Morgan Rogers,
I honestly don't have an answer on what this plan is with the left wing as I would with the other positions. That's because
the thing is, if Morgan Rogers is a realistic target, and you want to try and get him before this PSR deadline for Villa, right? So you can get him, then if you get him, I don't know if you're probably not going to get Rodrigo. I'm guessing, unless you get him for a real cut price.
1 second. This guy came on my channel and then says, "Egal's here. I'm out of here. You can go and get banned then."
You don't have. He's on his own channel, would you?
You don't have
plenty of other places he can go to avoid him.
I know it's like Egal talks football. What are you doing here? I see that.
Yeah, honestly, some guys, you guys talk crazy. But hey, before we go any further, please do hit that like button. We're almost on 100 likes, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and leave a comment down below what you thought of that video you just watched.